StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Hello, Namaskar, Namaskara, Namaskaram, Namaskar. My name is Pooja Divedi. Welcome to my daily current affairs class, in which we will solve together the important news related prelims MCQs. As I have already told you that prelims examination is more of a skill. Knowledge is there, concept is clear, but what is lacking? Skills. Nobody or anybody who has prepared thoroughly is incapable of qualifying prelims if they have their conceptual clarity, knowledge based development, and also skills. So these three are the main mantras, we can call it. Without any further delay, I would like to tell you that please do not make any sort of notes in this class because I provide the PDF on a daily basis on my Telegram channel. The benefits of joining the Telegram channel are many. First of all, I also give questions that are related to answer writing, as in for the mains examination, for which you will get evaluation as well. That is for the Saturday's part. Other than this, we have a peer review group in which I will give certain questions to get it reviewed by your peers. That means who are preparing for the UPSC examination only. You send your copies there and you will get to see who is writing what kind of answers, and you can improve your answer writing from that. Other than that, I evaluate the copies as well. Do not worry about the Saturday ones. Saturday copies I evaluate. I will give you important additions as well there. Okay. So you can join my Telegram channel for various purposes. Other than this, if you want to ask me any question, you can talk to me directly on my Instagram. Alright. Now let's move forward and talk about the various events that we have to cover today. Also, I would like to tell you that on 31st of July, we are closing in on our batches. These will be one of the last batches for prelims to interview for the year 2024. So make sure that you are, taking part in this particular initiative. You will get everything. Live classes have started from 22nd of July. And if you need any help regarding preparation, we are already there, but mentors are also there. So you will not find any sort of log jam when it comes to preparation. Not only prelims and mains, but also the interviews. Specifically, if I talk about the mains residential program, there also you will get lodging facilities, everything. For those who have qualified prelims 2024, you will be called to the StudyIQ campus, and there you will be able to understand how you prepare without any distraction for the mains examination. Just use the code PDLive. When you use this particular code, you will get it for 29,999 only for Hindi, English and English. Alright. Now let's move forward and talk about the first question with respect to 0 FIR. Choose the statement which is not correct. There is no restriction over the informant to lodge 0 FIR. It was recommended by the Justice Verma Committee. It aims to ensure speedy justice and a regular FIR number is given here. 0 FIRs have been lodged many times, and right now we are seeing the rampant usage of 0 FIRs in the Manipur case. So many rape, murder, every kind of miscreants that could exist at one place, they are existing in Manipur right now. So 0 FIRs have taken place. That is why this question is important. See, 0 FIR is basically an FIR which is lodged by a victim at a police station even if the crime hasn't been done under the jurisdiction of that police station. Supposedly, a place is X and a place is Y. The crime has been done in Y, and the jurisdiction of Y comes under a separate police station. But if the person goes to X, this police station comes under A will say that I will not lodge the FIR because this is the jurisdiction of some other police station. No, they can do it. They can lodge a 0 FIR and then they will transfer it to the appropriate police station. Hence, 0 FIR, here there is no restriction over the informant to lodge FIR. Other than this came into existence after the Nirbhaya rape case of 2012. It was recommended by the Justice Verma Committee. It wants to ensure speedy justice, that a person does not have to run from post to pillar just to get an FIR done. Other than this, we have to understand here a regular FIR number is not given. That is when the actual FIR will be lodged then. Alright. So first, second and third ABC are correct, but D is not correct. D here will be the correct answer. Now, when a police station receives a complaint regarding an alleged offense that has been committed in the jurisdiction of another police station. I have already told you that is FIR, zero FIR. And then no regular FIR number is given over here. After receiving the zero FIR, the relevant police station registers a fresh FIR and starts the investigation. This provision came into being after the recommendation by Justice Verma Committee to get faster trial and enhanced punishment for criminals who are accused of committing crimes against women. And I have already mentioned this. As per section 154 of the CRPC, if any information relating to the commission of any cognizable offence is received by a police station, the police station or the police is duty bound to lodge the FIR. That means if any offence has been committed, doesn't matter what the jurisdiction is, and that offence is cognizable in nature, then it will definitely be registered by any police station. This is zero FIR. With respect to the National Tiger Conservation Authority, consider the following. The Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change appoints the chairperson of the NTCA. It came into existence after enabling a provision of the Environment Act 1986. It was established in 2005 following the recommendation of the Tiger Task Force. So what do we have to see? The correct ones. See, NTCA has recently been in the news because the opposition is alleging that NTCA is giving political reports on the death of cheetahs. And that is why this question has been asked. NTCA came into existence after the Tiger Task Force pushed for its establishment in the year 2005. And that was enabled by the provision of Wildlife Protection Act, not Environment Protection Act. So second statement is incorrect, third is correct. Do you know that the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is the chairperson of NTCA? No other person is appointed by him. So first statement is incorrect, second is incorrect, only third is correct. These kind of tricky questions could be asked. We do not really care about who is the chairperson of NTCA, do we? We should, because it could be asked in the question. So first, second are incorrect, third is correct. That means one only will be the correct answer. Right now, at least 2 free-ranging cheetahs in the Kuno National Park, they were treated for severe infection that was caused by their radio collars. See this wound. This was developed because of the heavy radio collars. How? Whenever monsoon occurs, obviously the animals will get wet during that, and the fur of the cheetahs, as in the hair of the cheetahs, are much thicker than other species who are wearing radio collars. So they retain moisture, and when they retain moisture, that gets trapped in the radio collars, and degradation or deterioration of the skin occurs. Also, it is very hard for the radio collars to stay, to be made wearable for cheetahs because they have a slightly, we can say, thinner neck as compared to other animals. So these are the reasons that radio collars are not working for them. And festering neck wounds and septicemia has occurred because of that. Septicemia is caused by festering neck wounds from radio collars. Problems with long-term radio collars are also there, such as the development of Staphylococcus aureus bacteria, which presence was higher on watch wearer's wrist, which can lead to sepsis and even death. And weight consideration. The global standards say that the radio collars the weight of them should be 3% less than the actual weight of the animals. But it is very hard to follow when it comes to cheetahs. The National Tiger Conservation Authority is a statutory body. That means it was established under the mandate of an act. And the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change constituted this body, enabling the provisions of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. NTCA has been fulfilling its mandate within the ambit of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Okay, moving on, let's talk about the minister who is holding the post. It's the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Now, we have to match the following pairs. We have to manage the Indian National Navy's important Navy aircraft carrier, offshore patrol vessel, as well as a missile corvette, because recently India has gifted one to Vietnam, a missile corvette. So INS and the feature of it. So Medha is an offshore patrol vessel, Vikrant an aircraft carrier, Kirpan missile corvette. Let's see how many of the pairs given above is or are not correct. See, first we have to see Sumedha. Sumedha is an offshore patrol vessel. That means it goes to different areas of the coastline and patrols the area, sees for any sort of threat for India or pirates. So yes, it's an offshore patrol vessel. It also has an array of important weapons. Vikrant, one of the two aircraft carriers we have, Vikrant and Vikramaditya, we are going to build a third one as well because of the changing situation in the Indo-Pacific. We need more aircraft carriers because if we have to defend and attack the enemy, defend ourselves from the enemy and attack the enemy, then we need small areas from where we can launch aircraft. So aircraft carrier, we have Vikrant. Kirpan recently has been gifted to Vietnam. It's a fully functional yet decommissioned from India. It has been recently gifted to Vietnam, showing that India is not only looking for, benefits, one-sided benefits in the South China Sea, but of course it is ready to become a reliable defense partner for Vietnam. And it's a missile corvette. Corvette is a small warship. It consists of missile. It carries frigates and missiles. So first is correct, second is correct, third is also correct. Not correct, none are incorrect. Now, in the first ever instance of India, which has for the first time ever offered a fully functional missile corvette to Vietnam at the port of Cam Ranh. All right, so this is for the first time ever which has been done. This is INS Kirpan. It is an indigenously built missile corvette. It was decommissioned after completing 32 years of service. In 1991, it was serving since 1991. It has been serving in the Navy's Eastern Fleet and it has participated in several operations. It is manned by about 12 officers and 100 sailors. It is 90 meters long and 10.45 meters in width and with a maximum displacement of 1450 tons. Not very important the data, but still just to give you an idea. Now as you can see how missile corvettes are. Okay, moving on. INS Sumedha is the third ship of the indigenously built Saryu class naval offshore patrol vessel. It was commissioned into the Indian Navy in the year 2014. It is built indigenously. That means its parts are indigenous, manufactured in India at Goa Shipyard Limited. It has an impressive array of weapons and sensors. It can carry an integral helicopter and boats of long endurance as well. Vikrant is one of the two aircraft carriers. It has 76% indigenous content and around 80 to 85% of the ship's cost has been flowed back into the Indian economy. Very importantly, what is an aircraft carrier? Here will be the aircrafts and this is kind of a runway. So through this runway, the aircraft will be launched. Okay, moving on. The Archaeological Survey of India was founded under which of the following viceroys of India? That means it was found in 1861. It's established in 1861. But under which viceroy? We know that Alexander Cunningham was the first ever in charge for Archaeological Survey of India. And it was actually established under the viceroyship of Lord Canning. Okay? Option B will be the correct answer over here. The Archaeological Survey of India, although it was about to start the survey of the Gyanvapi Mosque, but the Muslim side went to the Supreme Court and now the Supreme Court has stayed the survey and that will be up until Wednesday. Okay, so this is the question. This is the news in which the context we built the question. Archaeological and historic pursuits in India started with the efforts of Sir William Jones when he established the Asiatic Society of, we can say Asiatic Society, just that, on 15 January 1784, where? At Calcutta, now Kolkata. Alexander Cunningham, a second lieutenant of the British engineers, he initially assisted James Prinsep. Remember James Prinsep? Formulated a plan in 1948 for an Indian archaeological survey, that we will have our own Indian archaeological survey, but his efforts were futile in the first few years. But the fresh proposal which was put by Alexander Cunningham during the viceroyship of Lord Canning, it got a go ahead. So the Archaeological Survey of India came into existence. John Marshall was appointed as the new Director General. During the time of Lord Curzon, the Archaeological Survey of India became centralized in nature so that more surveys could be done. So Lord Curzon proved to be a boon for Archaeological Survey of India. It is now under the Ministry of Culture and it regulates all archaeological activities in the country as per the provisions of the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act of 1958, regulates Antiquities and Art Treasure Act of 1972. Consider the following statements. Taiwan Japan, and China are the top 3 semiconductor manufacturing countries in the world. Semiconductors can be made only with pure elements and not compounds. So let us see which of the statements given above is or are correct. See, semiconductors are the future and the present and the future. And we have to keep in our minds that we do not have to depend on any country for semiconductors because they are somewhere between insulators and conductors. They are in the middle. So, of course, they can be either made of elements or compounds. Elements include, of course, very important elements we do not have in our country right now. That is why we are dependent on countries like China, sometimes the USA. But the countries which are contributing in manufacturing the most is Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan. Top 3: Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan. So China is also there in the top 5, but right now the first statement is incorrect for that matter. Semiconductors can be built both of elements or compounds. Okay, so first is incorrect, second is also incorrect. Neither 1 nor 2 will be the correct answer here. The Prime Minister will inaugurate Semicon India 2023 on the 28th of July. And semiconductors are materials which have a conductivity between conductors and insulators. That means they, like conductors, they can let electricity pass through them very easily. Insulators do not. So they are in the middle. They are used in a wide range of appliances, from phones, televisions, computers, PCs, ATM cards, and whatnot. So they are the future, present, and the future. And if India has to become digital India, it has to reduce dependence on other countries when it comes to semiconductors supply chain. And they can be pure elements, silicon or germanium, or compounds such as gallium arsenide, cadmium, selenide as well. Okay, so many elements as well as compounds can be used. The Indian Semiconductor Mission, it all started in 2021. The total financial outlay for this particular mission has been given at 76,000, and it will be rupees 76,000 crore, beg your pardon, and it will come under the Ministry of Electronics and IT. It will provide financial support for the components investing in semiconductors, display manufacturing, as well design ecosystem. We also have a production linked incentive scheme for it. Moving on, world's top semiconductor producers, a graph has been given. I have already told you it's Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan in the first 3. Moving on, with respect to Chandrasekhar Azad, consider the following statements. He was fascinated by M.K. Gandhi in his childhood. He met Jawaharlal Nehru to know about the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? Yesterday, it was the birth anniversary of Chandrasekhar Azad ji, and that is why it is important for us to know. So, let us see. Yes, when he was 15, just 15 years of age, he also took participation in many movements which were, led by Gandhi ji. And he was very fascinated in his childhood by his approach. But after the Chauri Chaura incident, after Gandhiji withdrew the 1922 movement, he was very upset. And since then, he became a radical person. And according to Jawaharlal Nehru's biography, it has been stated that when Chandrasekhar Azad ji was underground, he met Jawaharlal Nehru ji to know about the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Okay, so first is correct, second is also correct. Both 1 and 2 will be the correct answer. So Prime Minister paid his tributes to legendary freedom fighters, both Bal Gangadhar Tilak ji and Chandrasekhar Azad ji on their birth anniversary. We have to keep in mind that we have already covered Bal Gangadhar Tilak ji, that is why I am covering Chandrasekhar Azad ji today. Okay, so Chandrasekhar Azad ji was born on 23rd July 1906, Bhabra, India. Died on February 27, 1931 at Alfred Park, now known as Chandrasekhar Azad Park in Prayagraj, Allahabad. When apprehended by the police at the age of 15 when he was participating in the non-cooperation movement at Banaras, now Varanasi, he got interested in the freedom movement. He gave his name as Azad and said that his address is prison. However, he wasn't arrested, but he got a severe flogging by the authorities. He was disappointed by Gandhi's suspension of the non-cooperation movement after the Chauri Chaura incident. He joined the radical Hindustan Republic Association, participated in severe violent crimes such as Kakori train action and also other important violent crimes. He was known for his organizational skills. He played a key role in reorganizing the HRA, According to Jawaharlal Nehru's autobiography, it was during the period of underground existence that Azad met Nehru in early 1931, so that he could know that the revolutionaries could expect a fair deal leading to their honorable rehabilitation during the Gandhi-Irwin Pact only. Consider the following, beg your pardon for this. Consider the following disasters: Odisha super cyclone, Bhuj earthquake, tsunami, cyclone Hudhud. How many of the above occurred before the establishment of the National Disaster Response Force? NDRF was established by an act. This act was enacted in 2005, so we have to answer it accordingly. Odisha super cyclone 1999, Bhuj earthquake 2001, tsunami 2004, as well as cyclone Hudhud. It occurred, all these four occurred before the establishment of National Disaster Response Force. So four. One only, two only, three only, or all four? All four will be the correct answer. The NDRF is already engaged in so many disasters with respect to Gujarat, and it has already ended the operation that it was doing for Raigad, Maharashtra, where landslides occurred. We questioned on that also, questioned you all on that. So during the 1990s, it was understood that India and the world is supposed to go through many disasters in the upcoming decades. So the Yokohama Strategy Plan as well as Hyogo Framework Action, this ensured that we are looking towards such kind of arrangements which could lead to mitigation of disaster. If not mitigation, then of course rehabilitation. So Odisha super cyclone, Gujarat earthquake, Indian Ocean tsunami, because of all this, there was a necessity to have a proper response force so that we can take care of people during these times. So Disaster Management Act was enacted on December 26, 2005, and the National Disaster Management Authority came into existence. It takes care of both natural and man-made, you can say, disasters. Not only responsive to the natural but man-made disasters as well. Accordingly, in 2006, NDRF was constituted with 8 battalions. It has increased its battalions. In the beginning, the personnel of NDRF was deployed for a routine law and order duties also. But after in a meeting in the year 2007, it was allowed, we can say it was much more needed that we need to make NDRF a more dedicated force. So it became a dedicated force under Director General of the NDRF. From proactive availability, it is now in a pre-positioning availability. That means proactive to be responsive at the very first instance. Pre-positioning means what? That the battalions are present where the disaster can take place. And the Kosi floods in 2008 was one of the first instances when NDRF came into action. Okay, these are the different battalions on the map. Consider the following countries: Uruguay, Canada, South Africa, Russia. In how many of the above mentioned countries the recreational use of cannabis is allowed? That is marijuana, okay, or weed we can call it. So Uruguay, Canada and South Africa. Keep in mind, marijuana can be used for medicinal purposes as well as recreational purposes. So we have to answer how many are used for, in how many countries it is allowed for them to be used for recreational purposes. So Uruguay allows, Canada also allows, South Africa also allows it, but Russia doesn't allow it. So all four will be the correct answer. Union Minister of State for Science and Technology on Sunday visited the cannabis cultivation field of CSIR, India Institute of Integrative Medicine, Jammu, at its Chatha farm. Okay, cannabis is a generic term. It's a plant basically that is used to define several psychoactive preparations of the plant Cannabis sativa. The major psychoactive constituent is cannabis tetrahydrocannabinol, and the Mexican term is marijuana for that, and the unpollinated female plants are called hashish. Okay, medical uses include chronic pain in adults to treat it, some symptoms of multiple sclerosis as well, nausea and vomiting resulting from chemotherapy treatment. And Uruguay, the Netherlands, Canada, these countries allow its recreational use. Even Spain, South Africa and even the Czech Republic. Alright, so these are the important topics that we had to see today. I hope you understood these topics well. Thank you so much for watching and do subscribe to my Telegram channel.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।